Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here, sparing our lives through the past night and throughout this day. Lord, I pray that you'll help us to take heed and to listen to your word. And I pray that everyone will be blessed and attain extra knowledge and understand. In the name I pray. And also forgive us of our many sins also. Amen. Okay. Good evening, everyone in church and online as well. A special welcome to you, whether on Zoom, YouTube, or any other streaming applications. What I would like to look at today is a very interesting topic, right? And the whole theme of this program is rebuilding the wall and reconnecting the pieces. And the title of my presentation is Repairers of the Breach. Now, what you should be able to learn from this presentation or understand is how does this presentation relate to the theme? That is rebuilding the wall, reconnecting the pieces, right? And what is the importance of a physical wall? And lastly, how does the physical wall relate to our spiritual life? Now, what are some purposes of a wall? That's the first thing we would move to. Okay, so some purposes of a wall consist of to give support for buildings or other stuff, for beautification, for security, for shelter, and to add value to property. Now, we would look at causes of a breach in a wall. But first of all, we would like to know what is a breach, right? So, what is a breach? A breach is a gap in a wall, barrier, or defense, especially one made by an attacking enemy. Okay, so one of the first breaches, as I stated before, is the attack of an enemy. This is about a physical wall, right? Secondly, natural disasters. Thirdly, improper compaction of the soil. Fourthly, defective structural design. And lastly, improper maintenance. Now, this story of Nehemiah rebuilding the wall in Nehemiah chapter 5 and 6 is the background story that I will be using to support this theme. Okay, so the wall of Jerusalem had not yet been completed when Nehemiah's attention was called to the unhappy condition of the poorer class of people. In the unsettled state of the country, tillage had been to some extent neglected. Furthermore, because of the selfish course pursued by some who had returned to Judea, the Lord's blessing was not resting upon their land, and there was a scarcity of grain. And this is taken from Prophet and Kings, page 646, paragraph 1. Okay, so how does this physical wall relate to our spiritual life? Right? I know many of you will be asking, how does this relate? How does this make sense? But you will know later on. Okay. As the time of the end draws near, Satan's temptations will be brought to bear with greater power upon God's workers. He will employ human agents to mock and revile those who build the wall. But should the soldiers come down to meet the attack of their foes, this would but retard the work. They should endeavor to defeat the purposes of their adversaries, but they should not allow anything to call them from their work. Truth is stronger than error, and right will prevail over wrong. Prophet and Kings 659, paragraph 2. Okay, so Now we'll look at attacks on our spiritual life, right? Some examples. And the first example I would like to state is the love of money. Because a lot of people these days, all they really care about is money. And that can come between you and God. And we can use 1 Timothy 6 verse 10 for reference, right? And you guys can read the scriptures that I will be stating in your spare time, because due to time, I will not be able to read every one of them, right? The second one I will look at is pride. And we can use Isaiah 14, verse 12 to 14, right? And we kind of have an understanding what pride actually is, right? Okay. The third one I would like to look at is lust of the flesh. And I think this is a very big problem with many people today. And we can use 1 John 2, verse 16 for that. And the fourth one, with discouragement or unbelief. And this can be read in Hebrews 3, verse 12. And the last one I would like to look at is earthly possession. And we can look at Matthew 19, verse 20 to 22. And that is about the rich young ruler, as many of us would know. Okay, moving on. But Christ has given us no assurance to attain perfection of character is an easy matter. A noble, all-round character is not inherited. It does not come to us by accident. A noble character is earned by individual effort through the merits and grace of Christ. God gives the talents, the powers of the mind. We form the character. It is formed by hard, stern battles with self. Conflict after conflict must be waged against hereditary tendencies. We shall have to criticize ourselves closely and allow not one unfavorable trait to remain uncorrected. And this is from, I don't remember this one, but it's there on the screen for those who can see it, right? And the second paragraph, let no one say, I cannot remedy my defects of character. If you come to this decision, you will certainly fail of obtaining everlasting life. The impossibility lies in your own will. If you will not, then you cannot overcome. The real difficulty arises from the corruption of an unsanctified heart and unwillingness to submit to the control of God. Many whom God has qualified to do excellent work accomplish very little because they attempt little. Thousands pass through life as if they had no definite object for which to live, no standard to reach. Such will obtain a reward proportionate to their works. Remember that you will never reach a higher standard than you set for yourself. Then set your mark high and step by step, even though it be painful, by effort, by self-denial and sacrifice, ascend the whole length of the ladder of progress. Let nothing hinder you. Fate has not woven its meshes about any human being so firmly that he need remain helpless and in uncertainty. Opposing circumstances should create a firm determination to overcome them. The breaking down of one barrier will give greater ability and courage to go forward. Press with determination in the right direction, and circumstances will be your helpers and not hindrances. Be ambitious for the Master's glory, to cultivate every grace of character. In every phase of your character building, you are to please God. This you may do, for Enoch pleased him through living in a degenerate age, and there are Enochs in this our day. Stand like Daniel, the faithful statesman, a man whom no temptation could corrupt. Do not disappoint him who so loved you that he gave his own life to cancel your sins.